Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about the brand new Xiaomi Mi 11T Pro. This device embodies a lot of fast technologies. We're talking about the 888, we're talking about 120 hertz display, but not only that, they brought to it the 120 watt charging with a 5000 milliampere battery, getting us from 0 to 100, and this is what they're advertising it, in about 17 minutes. Now, I did my testing, and of course, I tested out this device. I've been using it for over a week now. So I'm going to share with you guys my thoughts about the brand new Mi 11T Pro. This is TK. Let's check it out. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. So here we go. This is pretty much the unboxing itself. We have the box, again, tuned by Harman Kardon. This is something that's unique to the 11T Pro. The 11T has basically Dolby Atmos, which is not a bad experience. It just, here it goes a little bit further. We have USB-A to USB-C for charging using the 120 watt charger that's included in the box. We have a clear case, of course, to be able to customize, protect our device out of the box. And of course, the brand new Mi 11T Pro. Now, one of the other things that Xiaomi did is they also included this device. This is the Xiaomi Mi 11 Lite 5G. This is the NE model that was also announced, and we're going to be covering that one in a separate video, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. It is in the studio. Now, before I go too far, I do want to talk a little bit about this charger that comes in the box. As you notice, this is a European charger. This phone is intended to be for the European market. There's going to be two different variants of it. There's an 8128 that's going to be going for about 649 euros. And then there's also the 8256, the higher storage one, for 699 euros. So to keep in mind, this is going to be actually a pretty decent budget, not necessarily budget, but more affordable version of some of the other flagships on the market. The main thing about the charger that we have here in the box is that this charges at 120 watts. Now, it is a proprietary charger. This is not Qualcomm, so it is going to be charging this device, and this is going to be, because this device actually carries two cells inside. So even though it's a 5000 total milliampere capacity, it's actually two 2500 milliampere batteries that you're able to charge using this charger, and of course be able to get it from 0 to 100% in a ridiculous amount of time. And what I mean by this is I'm talking about having it on. If you actually have the device on and you're charging it, you're going to be able to charge it in literally about 20 minutes, actually a little bit less than 20 minutes, about 19 minutes and about 50 seconds or so. But if you just do decide to turn it off and say the device dies, the battery dies, and you're charging it, you can actually get to 100% in 17 minutes. That is crazy. 5000 milliampere in 17 minutes from 0 to 100. One thing I will mention though, temperatures on this will definitely be a little bit warm, but it doesn't stay long enough for it to damage the system. So just keep that in mind. Just if you're going to be charging it and you, let's say, forgot to charge it overnight, you can be at 100% in literally about less than 17 minutes. This is crazy. So let's start talking about the device and some of the features that we have in here. We talked about the processor, the Snapdragon 888. The model that I have here is the 8256. As you see, I already have my Goku wallpaper set up on it. And it is actually very nice because one of the things that they've done here is they included the fingerprint sensor on the side. It's actually part of the power button. So now it's actually a little bit faster than some of the other devices, and I find it a little bit more reliable as well. A half press opens up the lock screen, and a full press unlocks the device, and you can see it unlocks quite fast. That's one of the big things. Volume rocker right above that, nothing else on this. We have the top mounted speaker with one of the microphones that is going to be giving us that Harman Kardon audio. So the earpiece at the top is not going to be the audio projection sound. So you're going to get it from a fully dedicated speaker. On the bottom, we have the mirrored version of that for the secondary speaker for the stereo speakers. Dual SIM card supporting 5G in supported markets. So in the US, at least for me, I'm able to get LTE or 4G LTE at a pretty decent speed. And of course, we have the beautiful 6.67 inch, basically 1080p, 120 hertz refresh rate display. And it did receive a DisplayMate A+ certification on the Pro model. The standard one did not. One of the things you want to keep in mind, it is adaptive, so you're going to get 120 hertz refresh rate depending on what you're doing. It is a 1080p panel, and it is AMOLED, so pretty much battery consumption is going to be really nice, and gaming is also going to be very, very nice. Now, as far as the experience and what we're getting here, on the back here, we have a triple camera stack here that's going to give us the best experience up to 8K recording. So the primary camera is going to be the 108 megapixel camera at f1.75. We also have an 8 megapixel, it's going to be the ultra wide, and of course a 5 megapixel is going to be our telemacro, giving us the ability of getting telephoto and macro photography on the sensor, essentially that what you're getting here. We have dual native ISOs, selfie night mode also added. And again, as I mentioned to you guys, all of the stuff that we're getting here are pretty much similar to what we see on the 11T, with the exception of the certification from DisplayMate and the charging technology as well. But as far as the sensors and the battery capacity, you're getting pretty much the same. The 11T includes a 66 watt charger, not 120 in the box. And it is actually powered by the MediaTek processor 1200 Ultra, as opposed to what we have here with the 888. Now, as far as the software and what we're running here, you'll notice right off the bat, this is obviously Xiaomi's software. So this is MIUI 12.5.3 that is preloaded. This is the global edition, and it is running on top of Android 11. The model again that I have here has 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of internal storage, and there is again the model that's 128. About a €50 difference between the two, but that's going to be something that you can expect there. Other than that, customizations and almost everything else that we've seen before are here. Display is where you can customize the dark mode and the light mode, the ability of turning on the refresh rate to 120 Hertz. By default, it does come at 60. You're also able to go in here and turn on some of the AI engine or AI image enhancement and color schemes to be able to kind of tune the colors on this device, as it is a beautiful device, especially with watching content and recording video, or even watching the video that you've already recorded. Control center and notifications, pretty standard. Sound and vibration, you can go in here and customize the sound effects, and you can jump in here for Dolby Atmos configuration. The speakers have been tuned by Harman Kardon, and of course the EQ that we're using here is based on that. Headphones remote and everything, if you're using headphones, unfortunately they don't include the adapter anymore on this one, and I was expecting to see that. It's the little adapter from USB-C, the 3.5mm headphone jack, but it shouldn't be too hard for us to find a pair of USB-C cables or true wireless buds. The other thing obviously is you can customize your wallpaper, your theme, and you probably already noticed this. I'm using a live wallpaper here, the Goku Ultra Instinct. You can customize that, and that's one of the beauties here. Fingerprint security, to customize it, protection, battery life, again 5000 milliampere. You can customize the apps. Under additional, we have a few other options here. You have the gesture shortcut, the screen recorder, the one-handed mode, the clear speaker in case you do jump into the pool, and because we have an IP rating here, you should be able to actually enjoy some splash. But if you do get some water in the speakers, clear speaker will emit a small sound to clear that up for you. Accessibility, of course, beauty in video and calls. This is something depending on what you use it. If you do, you can turn that on. I personally like to keep that off. I'm already beautiful as it is, I would say, but no, I think that feature is for people that like it. Let's say that. Under special features, we have Game Turbo, obviously for game customization, video toolbox, floating windows, and second space, as a lot of people do ask me about that. And of course, light mode, which it makes the UI element a little bit simpler than what we get. In Game Turbo, this is basically the game launcher. You can add different games. I've installed Call of Duty Mobile, and we'll get a chance to check that out. One of the things I probably would say is this is going to give you some of the best experiences. We have a long battery that lasts us a very long time, a large battery. We have great stereo speakers. We also have the 888. We have 8 gigs of RAM, a very fast storage, a lot of things that you can do. Of course, Global Edition includes Google services, and you can log into your Mi account as well as the Global account. One thing I will say though before we go too far is it is a fingerprint magnet, there's no question there. You notice that the name on the back of the phone is now actually saying Xiaomi. It's no longer saying Mi. So they've actually started to do the name conversion, switching over to start showing Xiaomi devices as opposed to, let's say, the Mi 11T. On the package, it does still say Xiaomi, but it doesn't actually say the Mi. So you'll notice right there, it actually says Xiaomi 11T Pro, and I keep calling it the Xiaomi Mi 11T Pro. But in reality, yeah, it's pretty much shifting over. I think the nomenclature of the Mi nomenclature is going to be moving away, and we're going to basically just start seeing Xiaomi 11T Pro. But that was just something I wanted to mention to you guys at the end. At the top here, you can customize the experiences depending on what you want. You can go in there, unlock the device, you can open it up. Of course, you have the shortcut you can customize, you can do that as well. And then last but not least, swiping up from the bottom gives you access directly into the lock screen. It's pretty simple, and it works very nicely. The camera experience here is also something that has been improved. We have the 108 megapixel sensor in the back. We're going to be able to take a look at some really good content there. So we have a Pro mode, standard video, front-facing camera capped at 1080p 60 frames per second. The main camera on the back will give us 8K. The 4K 60 frames per second is also only on the main camera, and then if we jump over to the 4K 30 frames per second, we can get that out of the ultra-wide and the main camera at the same time. Photography mode, of course, we have portrait mode. Now, under the more section here, you see a few other options. We have night mode, 108 megapixel camera, of course, short video, vlogging, document, panorama, slow motion, time lapse, movie effects, long exposure, and dual video, and of course, clone. The movie effects are some of the really nice ones that you're actually able to see the different effects of what you can do. You can do the movie effects, and we've seen them obviously with some of the other devices from Xiaomi, but it's really nice to see that they're focusing on giving you the best tool for the experience. So whatever you want to do with your device, you're definitely not going to be disappointed. Let's go ahead and do a quick sample on the front-facing camera and the back-facing cameras on the brand new Xiaomi Mi 11T Pro. So the first thing we're going to do is start off with the front-facing camera. This is capable of shooting at 1080p 60 frames per second, a little bit higher frame rate than what we normally see from a front-facing camera. But this should be a good example of the audio and video on the brand new Mi 11T Pro. So hopefully this is going to be just getting even better when we go to the back sensor. Now that we switched over to the primary sensor here, the main thing that we are able to do here is we can shoot all the way up to 8K with the main shooter. We can shoot 4K 60 frames per second also with the main sensor. We can only shoot 4K 30 with the other sensor. So let's say we want to drop down to the ultra wide, that becomes 4K 30 and of course 1080p and so on. But this should be a good example of what the 11T Pro can do with the primary shooter, the 108 megapixel sensor that we have here on the back. And as you saw there, the image quality from the front facing camera and the back facing camera, and even shooting an 8K clip with it, is going to be absolutely fantastic. And again, depending on the storage capacity that you get, you probably will be able to fill it up, as 8K does take a lot of storage, but it's going to look beautiful. Now, let's go ahead and do a quick speaker test. This is Alex Scrindo, our favorite song on the channel, Jumbo by NCS Release. And of course, I have the volume at 100%. And let's go ahead and start. We'll go ahead and go full screen. Definitely sounds great, and it sounds well tuned. The bass is actually pretty pronounced. It isn't going to sound flat, even though it does sound pretty loud. The overall experience here is obviously going to be great, especially for content consumption and creation with this device. Now, as far as gaming, pretty much, as I said, we have Game Turbo. You can go in here, customize the experience, adding a home screen shortcut for it, memory exceptions and so on, and of course, restriction mode. All of these things will basically customize the experience for you. So we'll go ahead and obviously we have boost turned on. We'll go ahead and open it up. This is Call of Duty Mobile. We'll notice right away Game Turbo is turned on. Swiping from the top brings us down, gives us access to the menus on both sides, and you can of course customize that. Let's go ahead and bring the notification sound a little bit so that we don't get a lot of sound in there. But overall, what you're looking here is Call of Duty Mobile. For me, one of my favorite games to be able to play. So we'll go ahead and turn that off here. We'll give it a hand, and it's okay. Let's go ahead and claim this one. We'll tap, and we're going to skip. And then as far as the actual best settings that we have here, the best configuration that we're going to be able to get is 90 frames per second, but it is going to be matching our very high. So even though if I go low here, it does not go anything beyond. Right now, I'm waiting to see some more devices support 120 frames per second, which would basically be amazing on this one. But again, 90 frames per second is still pretty crazy good on Call of Duty Mobile.
Destroy the objective. We got the bomb.
Enemy contact. Enemy contact. Target down. Target's in sight. Contact with enemy. Changing mag. Need backup. Enemy contact. Enemy down.
Lost the bomb.
Target down.
The bomb has been planted.
Enemy contact. Target's in sight. Headshot.
You may be asking yourself, how is Xiaomi able to provide this device at 650 euros? Well, I'll say that there's a few things here that are tailored to make this device obviously a T series. This is not obviously going to be superseding what we saw originally with the 11 Pro. This is definitely somewhere between the 11 and the 11 Pro. So there's where this 11T series kind of comes in. We're looking at a flat panel, no curved edges. We're also looking at a 1080p panel here with a 5000 milliampere that does carry the 120 watt charging here. My hope is that now the 120 being here on the T series, meaning now every flagship or every high-end model that Xiaomi puts out will start featuring this technology. This enables us to actually not have to rely, or the fact that it doesn't have wireless charging is almost moot at this point, because again, you can go from 0 to 100% in literally less than 20 minutes. If the device is off, in 17, but about 19 minutes with it on. So in the time that you get up and you plug it in and you go take care of a couple of things around the place, you're pretty much done and your device is ready to go all day long. Now, I didn't get 5G in the US, and that's mostly because of the market and the way it is. It does support dual 5G on their SIM card, the dual SIM cards that they have in there. 4G LTE for me in the US actually was pretty decent. I was getting some decent speeds, so it's not going to be disappointing at all. It's just that if you're looking to get 5G here, unfortunately that's just not supported. But 4G LTE can get you easy over 100 megabits down. The other thing I would probably say is the cameras on this are absolutely fantastic. I took it with the family, went over to Magic Mountain over the weekend. There was Fright Fest for Halloween here in the US, so we started taking some pictures there, some videos. It actually held its own. It's really nice. The camera samples that I'm sharing with you guys, of course, are also showing directly like night mode photography, portrait photography, so on, and all of that stuff. And the video sample is actually very nice. So let me know what you guys think of the brand new Xiaomi Mi 11T Pro. I need to start learning to say calling it the Xiaomi 11T Pro, because I think the Mi moniker is for the most part going to be dropping. Great device, great price, and I would just say keep it going, Xiaomi. You're knocking it out of the park in 2021. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.